Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Disrupt Your Now, the show from entrepreneurs who are ready to shake things up. And before we get into it, I'm going to my internet. I'm sorry, y'all. We're having storms here in
Yes.
Virginia. So if I
Yep.
lose my internet, we might end up having to reschedule this. But before we get into it, really quickly, my books, Disrupt Your Now and Boomer Cash Out. My friend that was on the other week fussed at me because I never never promote them. So I'm doing it for him. So tonight I'm really excited, y'all, to have AK Akbar-Uqdah, and please, AK, if I've mispronounced it, please forgive me and
You are
and correct
forgiven.
me. But AK is our newest partner with the 1111 Veteran Project. And for those of y'all who don't know, I partner with Colin Garrett Racing, NASCAR driver Colin Garrett, and we work to promote access to resources for military families and disabled people to help them live happier, more successful lives. So AK is getting ready to do an awesome project with us. So I'm going to flip it over to you, AK. I want
Well,
you to tell everybody what you're going to be doing, but also give us some background about you.
sure. So I'll start off with a little bit of background. I go by AK. My whole name is Anissa Akbar-Uqdah. And I don't worry so much about the last name mispronunciation because growing up in Mississippi, I don't think I could pronounce my own name. So let me just say, and neither could half of my family. So
Yeah.
Yep. So I was born in Connecticut, raised in Biloxi, Mississippi, and Hattiesburg. I traveled quite a bit with my mom. I have got four brothers and two sisters.
Right.
We've got a full family, and we had a great time growing up. Uh, because I had more brothers, I was definitely more so the tomboy and into everything from fishing and cycling and kayaking and all the things that I needed to do to keep up with them.
Yeah.
I was also adopted at 2, and so my last name comes from both my biological family as well as my adopted family.
Oh,
So
okay.
Akbar meaning great, and Ukta meaning firmly together.
Oh, that's nice.
I thought so too once I became of
Yeah.
age to actually understand what it meant.
Hmm.
um, and because everyone pronounces my first name so poorly or wants to call me Anisha, I just go by
Yeah,
AK.
I like that.
I have many names that I will answer to, but AK is pretty simple.
Yeah.
So
Before you go further,
yeah,
I want
yeah.
to show you our buddy Ian is on here from Racing for
Oh
Heroes.
yes.
And Ian, you were right, so right. He says AK is one of the most energetic, motivated, and dedicated people I've ever met. And
Oh,
yet, Ian,
I
yeah,
love you, Ian.
Tom and I were just talking about it before we came on. We're like, you cannot be around AK and not get a main line of energy.
I appreciate you guys because y'all keep me going. And it's funny because sometimes my kids ask me or say to me, like, do you ever slow down? I can't keep up with you. Like, we can't sustain this type of momentum that you have. Like, can we
Yeah.
stop for a minute?
I'm
So,
sorry for interrupting you.
no worries at all. Um, so let's see, life. Between the Mississippi and Massachusetts, it was literally just two different worlds. It almost felt like
Yeah.
different countries at some points. A challenge in that, I had a very thick Southern accent. And so when we moved up to Massachusetts, that was totally unacceptable. It was, hey, can you say this word? Can you say that word? And pretty embarrassing at some points. And everybody knows that Mississippi is just known for being fat and can't speak English. So, there was that going for us as well. And so
Yeah.
I can't say that we were the most educated, even though our mother was highly educated. So there was a learning curve there as well. But we stuck through it. We made through it, and here we are today. Along that journey, I attended Bryn Mawr College. Did awesome years there. I ended up studying anthropology, and that's probably why I have so much energy that I do. Is I really do love people, and Sometimes I press the pause button, but it's usually forced. And so I enjoy getting to know people, where they come from, what they like to do, and engaging with them, and just understanding a little bit more about what they want to do in life, and how can I support that. So part of that journey led me to caretaking. So as I was studying anthropology, I also picked up pre-med, but unfortunately at the time, at that college, you couldn't do pre-med as well as study a foreign language or go abroad.
Okay.
I chose to study Arabic because that's what we grew up speaking in the house, and I wanted to, immerse myself in that.
That
I,
is so cool.
thank
So
you.
where'd you go when you went abroad?
So I ended up going to Egypt.
Okay.
It was one of, I think, 3 Arabic-speaking countries that we were allowed to go to at the time, and probably one of the most festive Ramadans one could celebrate. And so, in fact, it was literally party all night. And if we did that in the U.S., we would probably be shamed for celebrating Ramadan like that. But so that took me through a different journey, which introduced me to a lot of work in public health. So I ended up working on a project for street children and understanding their health needs. And after I got back home, I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to do public health. And so that's the journey that I took from there. I guess backing up just a little bit, my first introduction to public health was the Tuskegee syphilis study, being all of things Mississippi, all things Alabama, all things, south of the border. And then from there, I pivoted at Bryn Mawr to my first project was suicide prevention. And I guess it just kind of blossomed from there. And I was worried, I think about that time, the economy probably wasn't great. And I remember my mom saying, you probably need to just go to grad school. I was like, okay, all right, guess that's what I'm doing. So I ended up going to Emory and earning my MPH. So that's a master's in public health, and had a great time there as well. Emory being right next door to CDC, I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be Surgeon General of the United States. So,
big dreams, right?
Right, exactly. And so I ended up actually, when I finished my MPH, I ended up working at Emory for about 4 years with a great friend of mine, Sandy Thurman, in religion and public health. And so that's where my global public health kind of took up speed there. And I walked across the street with lots of support and mentorship, and ended up being employed at the CDC, what's going on now, 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So that's just a little bit.
My son-in-law went to Emory too.
Oh, get out.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever told you. And you have a second master's, don't you?
Oh, yes. So I did, somewhere along this line, I wanted to marry my work in public health and global health security with Intel. And I don't know what was going on in the country at the time or what pandemic it was, but a lot of interest and drive in medical intel entered my life. And so some of the projects I was working on at CDC required a DoD counterpart. And I would sit across the table from them and not understand a word that was coming out of their mouth. And I was like, I got to get better at this. How do I do that? I'm not, I don't know the jargon. I don't know how to pick this up fast enough. And it was when I had to respond to the Ebola pandemic that I began engaging with more Marines, because when we would go to post, obviously they were there. And I was like, that's cool. I want to do that. I want to, guard an embassy. So I was like, listed all the things I wanted to do in the Marine Corps, and I decided to, sign up. But that journey was very, very long.
Oh, I bet.
In fact, the hardest thing I've ever done in my life was
not to get off track, I'm going to for just a minute, but what you pointed out about you not understanding them, that goes along with our mission to help veterans and military families,
Yes,
because that transition
right.
out of the military into civilian life. And my husband, we went through it in 1990. All he'd ever done besides be a cowboy, but before he went in the Navy, he'd been in the military his whole life. So he had a
Yeah,
master's
yeah,
degree, but he didn't know,
yeah.
how to apply it to anything outside of defense, and he wanted to do
Right.
something out of that. So it's great that you have that experience personally that ties into our mission as well.
Yeah, and I've seen it play out in as I watch Marines, however young or old they are, get out and kind of being able to do the reverse now for them and support or be of an asset, and like me listening in to prepare myself for whenever that comes. But I will say that I think the a gem in the Marine Corps is the reserves, because I get to play double dutch. I
Oh
get to,
yeah.
you know, support here on active duty and come back off. And so I know it sounds probably pitiful, but I do enjoy being able
No,
to
I think it sounds
work.
great. And for people out there who are wondering, well, what do people do when they're in the Marines or any other
Yeah,
branch of
yeah,
the service? There is a job equivalent for everything that's in the civilian
yes,
world.
yeah,
Anything that needs to be done, there's somebody in the military doing it, from
yeah,
being a photographer or a journalist to
right,
logistics to maintenance
right,
to
yes.
everything. And by the way, I hear the thunder getting closer.
Okay,
So
so
again, I apologize ahead of time if y'all lose me. But okay, so I interrupted once more, and I'm sorry.
that's fine. That's fine. I think that's part of the joy of this is interruptions. So, I like I said, the journey into the Marine Corps was tough. I actually credit the Marine Corps for teaching me how to fail, um, because I had passed everything aside from speaking Mississippi and Massachusetts. That was probably the only like learning curve that I had in life, and was just going along successfully until I joined the Marine Corps, and they were like, "Yeah, right, we got something for you." So I signed up. I got accepted to OCS, um, and I got there and completely was just shocked, right? I was like, well, I had an evil mom, so I should be able to handle the sergeant instructors, right? That part was easy. But putting everything together, like the leadership, the academics, PT was also super easy. But
Uh-huh.
once you're putting all those things together in a pressure pot, you get to see yourself differently. And then you have other people judging you differently. And so all those layers, there's 10 weeks of OCS. I got to the Saturday of week 9 and got the memo like, oh no, you will not continue on training, try again, right? And that was me at 29.
Uh-huh.
So that was a huge blow to my
So
ego.
that was probably your first real failure.
It absolutely was. And I remember my mom like looking at me, and I could see two faces. I could see like, hey, yeah, like, yeah, you failed. So let's whatever, dust it off and try again. And then there was like, oh, Mimi failed. Like, oh
Yeah.
God, the compassionate side came out. And in between there, so in between the time that I failed OCS and passed OCS was the Ebola outbreak. And so
Mhm.
being on that journey, I feel like set me up for success because I was daily working with Marines. So when had my little study book of like, the history of the Marine Corps and traditions, I could like turn to the Marine, next to me and say, hey, can you tell me a little bit about this?
Mhm.
And it really just sandwiched what I felt like my purpose was in life, which was to be able to serve, and save lives. And
Yeah.
me, both working at the CDC and in the Marine Corps, what spoke to me in that way. So I was able to marry the two. Still struggle a little bit, like all marriages, but being able to have the opportunity to save lives was the driving force and continues to be the driving force in motivation to stay in both.
Yeah, that is so cool. I love, because when we first met, I knew you were a Marine, but I also knew that you worked at CDC, and I didn't realize you were reserves, and I was so confused. And
Yes.
then you explained it to me, and it really is the perfect marriage.
Yeah,
And
it is.
because you see both sides, you bring it all to the table.
Well, I appreciate the opportunities that I do, and whether it's a deployment preparation and pre-deployment prep, or we're pre-deploying for preparing for an outbreak or respond to an outbreak. I think that both uh, agencies have prepared me to do that with my Marines and my colleagues at CDC, and a lot of times I'm leaning on the other for support and questions like, hey, how would you do this? How would you go about moving this piece of equipment or that piece of personnel and shipment? So, yeah.
But having both and having both sides to turn to is perfect. It goes along with what I go again. Sorry, I spun out. I was going to say it goes along with what I try to get a lot of my clients to do is develop strategic alliances with people that
Absolutely.
know the things that you don't know or have the strengths that you don't have. And so
Right.
you're able to do that through your two professional lives. By the way, really quickly, our buddy Matt Denny is on here and he said,
Hey,
"Hey, so hey, Mohawk."
awesome.
So we met you a couple months ago at the race when out at Virginia International Raceway when we were promoting Monique and the Linus Defense Firearms training, which
Yeah.
Monique is also a Marine and
Yes.
she owns that business. So, and you help her with PR, right?
So it's funny because I was in my logistics training pipeline, and I think she had probably just started Linus Defense somewhere in between there. But I had uh, there was some sort of advertisement for one of her courses, so I ended up snagging my corporal and asking him and his girlfriend to go with me to this concealed carry class. And so we went, and I mean, we had a blast. I'd never thought I would have so much fun with guns ever, because there was so much intimidation when you're like on the firing line in the Marine Corps. They're like, get it right.
Mhm.
But she was super patient. I mean, the class was full. The indoor class with the presentation, as well as outdoor at the range, and I was like, oh wow, this is something that I could probably get into. Um, and then I asked her if she would mind if I shot one of her classes, because I enjoy photography. And so
Yeah,
I
not shot as in a gun.
she shoots the guns, I'll shoot the
Yeah.
camera. But I asked her, and she said, yeah, of course, come on out. So I went out to another class and got to learn even more of what I didn't absorb the first time. And so I just started there, and just kind of feeding her some of the photos, and allowing for those to be uploaded, and kind of welcoming other people to the class. So that's how it started. It's how I was like, okay, well, this is fun. I enjoy this.
Yeah.
And so be it. Now here I am. I've got you guys in my life. It's great. It's
Yeah,
great.
it's funny how you meet one person and then you meet another and
Yeah.
then you meet
Yeah.
another, and life is like a web. It's like people connected all over, and
Absolutely.
you never know who you're going to
Absolutely.
meet or who you're going to meet them through.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when for people out there who are not familiar, so when we were at Virginia International Raceway, Colin Garrett, the race car driver that I work with to promote resources, as I mentioned earlier, so he's a professional race car driver, and he was promoting Monique's business on his car as part of our mission to help veterans in the military community. And that's where we met you. And it's so funny because when I met you, I felt like I had known you forever. It's just like, oh my God, you're my long last friend.
Right, absolutely.
So
And
it's just been, one thing after another of fun and everything ever since I met you. And now you have this project coming up that I want you to share with people in a minute. But I'm just
sure.
really excited about having you in my life personally, but also about having you as part of our project because you're going
Yeah.
to make an amazing difference. You already are, and you will make an amazing difference.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to do it, because I think it was Matt who had invited me to a race. It was CFT season because I injured my back and I had to decline and say, sorry, I can't come. Now, mind you, we had already gotten the Airbnb and everything. And I think this was, I don't know which city, but I want to say that it was supposed to be in Darlington.
Darlington,
A whole another year passes, maybe two,
yeah.
maybe two. And that's when he introduced me to the Garrett family. And so there's just so many connections in this family. And that's when I met Ian. I mean, we had a blast out there. And it just rolled from there. I remember him telling me stories about how helpful you were and getting everything going. And I was like, oh, this is the Lisa woman. And I'd seen something on LinkedIn that was asking veterans to post different logos. And I was like, oh, okay, let me reach out. And I hadn't heard back, but life gets busy in all kinds of ways. And I don't know what it was that synced us back up, but somehow it did. And like I was like, okay, well, let's try again. And here we are again. And now it's like everybody's stuck like super.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I missed you before, because when you and I first hooked up, it was to have Monique on my show.
Right, exactly.
Before the race at VR. So I apologize. I didn't realize that I had missed you.
No, I mean, that was the point of my little memo in LinkedIn was like, hey, there's this really spectacular person out here, and I think you should meet her. So,
well, and Ian, the very first person that commented tonight, Ian is one of the first people that I met when I started working with Racing for Heroes, because the way this whole thing got started is Racing for Heroes wanted me to develop a national awareness campaign. Mm-hmm. And when I went out there and saw that they provide free mental and physical health treatment, job training and placement and things like that, and they had 0 paid employees, I was like, I can't charge them, because it would be taking directly from treatments and programs. Right. But also, you can't have a national awareness campaign if you don't have a national platform. Yeah. And again, you don't want to take that money out of treatments. So that's how this whole thing got started. Is I went to the Garrett and asked them, can we please promote Racing for Heroes through here? So we've been helping them pro bono ever since. It'll be 4 years at the end of this year. And this whole thing grew from having Racing for Heroes small logo on the car for us to be able to use. And Ron's and my half a brain, quarter brain that we put together to make a half a brain, we're like, oh my God, wouldn't it be cool to have a car that's dedicated to the military community? And so Ian is literally one of the very first people that I met out at Racing for Heroes. So he's very special to me.
Well, he was special when I met him, Ian, you're special. I just want you to know, like, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, you can't go anywhere, Ian.
Right. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So
Sherman says that you're truly making an amazing difference.
Oh, thank you, Sherman.
I'll say that he says, I'm a great supporter of a cause that should be dear to us all. So yes, you are. I'm so happy to have you in our family.
I'm so ecstatic. Like, this is kind of crazy. I think they said the best family is the one that you get to choose. So this is perfect timing.
Yeah, it's so weird how this marries everything that, Stacy Houston, who is the director of Kevin Bacon's 6 Degrees organization. When I first met her a couple years ago, I guess, she said to me when she was offered that job, she said, I had no nonprofit experience. I thought, this is not for me. And she said, and then I realized my whole life, everything in my life has led me to this point.
Yeah.
So isn't it funny how a lot of us find ourselves like that? And I forgot to mention that Sherman's the founder of Body Aqua, one of the other veteran-owned businesses that we promote. So y'all go to drinkbodyaqua.com and check out Sherman's business.
So you mentioned something about 6 Degrees, and I swear to God, I was coming off of Andrews Air Force Base yesterday, and I to a mutual friend that Matt introduced me to, and I was like, thank you so much for these 6 degrees. Like, it's crazy of how many people I know of yours right now. And so we immediately like FaceTimed and with him and Lindy, and I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. Like, so it's just more
Yeah.
goodness, more goodness.
So tell us about the project that
Yes,
you're getting ready to do.
yes. So I don't know how we all like stumbled upon this, but as I started to investigate all of the different businesses that 1111 was promoting. We obviously are coming up on Suicide Prevention Month, and my previous command, I served as the suicide prevention officer. I also had the opportunity to bring Matt on there to do some scrumming for us, and that's how that whole connection started. But I don't know why, but I was like, okay, how can we, promote everybody? How can we do this and incorporate the different aspects of people's lives that they struggle in day to day, particularly in the military, as we approach Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. And so, I mean, I just started looking at everybody's logo and I was like, everybody deserves equal love. So let's do this thing. So I enjoy cycling. And so I started reaching out to Lisa. I started reaching out to Ryan and Brian and Colin. And I was like, hey, what do you think about this? I said, hey, Mo, would you think you'd be interested in doing this? And I said, let's just go for it. Let's just try. So put everybody in the loop on an email. And I said, hey, I got 3 different ideas on what I think we could do. I just need you all's, ingenuity and thought on how we can do this and make it more cohesive. So I said, hey, if you guys will support, I will cycle to bring awareness about suicide prevention. Obviously, with 1111 being that you all's primary a platform, that was easy. That was a shoe in. And gradually, as I started to hear from everybody had a little snippet to offer that I don't know if was previously known. So here we are. 3 days out from the start of September, and I volunteered myself ridiculously to do minimum of 200 miles. So a century is 100 miles. So I'll do a minimum of 200. And I say minimum because the intent behind this is to, I'm right now in the DMV region at a conference. So next week, my intent is
Well,
to.
tell people who aren't familiar with
Yes,
DMV,
sure.
because
So
there are a lot of people that have no clue.
no problem. So I'm in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. Thank you for that, Lisa. I said, this is probably one of the most saturated areas for military bases.
Yeah.
What better way to do this than here? What better place to cycle than here? So again, I reached out to the group, said, what do you guys think about this? I'm going to do 100 miles. That 100 miles idea turned into, I will travel to as many military bases as possible to spread awareness about suicide prevention and promote each business along the way. So I think what we have kind of narrowed it down to, because it's still a work in progress, is now I don't even care how many miles. If it goes over 100, that's fine. The point is,
you're gonna be cycling forever.
I know, right? I'm going to this base and that base. But the point is to bring awareness about and what resources military service members and veterans have at their disposal, because that oftentimes we don't know. I have personally struggled with a bout of depression and failure that I myself, thought of suicidal. Had suicidal thoughts that would be the easy way out. I can just, be done with all of this. And it was cycling that I took up to, basic as a healing mechanism.
Yeah,
right?
to help you get out of that. Yeah.
Right. And so I was, had colleagues that were like, oh, use Military Source One. I called those people and they were like, took forever to get an appointment and all this stuff. But what we have, in our nucleus here with 1111, we have, we've got Linus Defense. And a lot of people think that, why would you use a lethal mechanism as an outlet for military members or veterans? And there's 2 answers that I have back to that. Is one, oftentimes sending rounds downrange is an outlet of itself, right?
Yeah.
And that service member or a veteran does not even have to own that gun. Something that we recently, came upon is there is a business and several businesses who will allow you to store your gun with them until you want to use it.
Okay.
And they also promote suicide prevention as that being a mechanism. We have obviously our body aqua, which you are going to hydrate me during my cycling.
You're gonna love it.
Which
for people out there who don't know it, Sherman created Body Aqua out of his hardships that he experienced in the deserts of Iraq when he was on active duty there. So you really need to go to drinkbodyaqua.com and read his story. It's really cool how that was the genesis of this product, and he's been working on it for 18 years now.
Wow. Yeah. So that's a huge investment.
Yeah.
That's pretty massive.
Yeah.
So we also have, let me get it correctly, it's Citizen Safety Academy, who is run by Akil Kadir, which is Monique's mentor, also in firearms. And he started out in law enforcement and training law enforcement. I think a little bit over 30 years of providing services there.
Wow.
Who else am I missing?
Disrupt Your Now.
Yes, you were my first one. How did I forget that?
Hold on, I'll pull up the
Yep.
graphic because I know
Awesome.
when I'm trying to talk, it's hard for me to remember things. So I'm going to pull up the graphic.
Great, thank you.
We don't miss anybody because there's Inonde or
Yep.
I'm sure I'm screwing it up.
It's all good. I've got it. I'll wait till the image comes up though.
Okay. Well, I've got it on my phone. So.
Okay, all right, no problem. So we have Disrupt Your Now, which I think is I love the name because particularly in this situation, in this project, we have sometimes you just need something that disrupts your thought process, gets you out of the cog of, hey, this is what I do day to day. There we go.
I'm sorry for the shining. You can't see it. So
that's better. Yeah. That's better. And that fit in just like a glove, right? And then we have one of our newest members, which Monique with Lioness Defense, as well as 1111, just partnered with last race, which is Inonde, a data company that is run by David Simon and his son, Colin Simon. And so what I'll be doing is cycling to promote these businesses.
And Racing for Heroes.
Racing for Heroes. Thank you very much for the last one.
Yeah.
And so just bringing awareness about some of the resources that they provide, whether that's data supporting the rate in which veterans and military members are committing suicide. I think that is now being reduced, most likely due to the resources and availability of them, as well as maybe some absence of war. In addition to, I really like Racing for Heroes tagline of having that adrenaline rush, right? And so you put a community of service members who look and seek that drive for adrenaline, and then they get out and there's like, well, where is it now? How do we get that back? And so I really appreciate Racing for Heroes, and I look forward to more connections with them. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to do the first 100 miles during the week of the 5th of September, which nationally the 5th through the 10th is acknowledged as Suicide Prevention Week. On the 10th, I think internationally is Suicide Prevention Awareness Day. And that day I will be cycling specifically for Cycle Against Suicide. And my intent is to, raise some awareness and hopefully some funds around that. I would love to move right on down to Colin's race on the last week of September. So I think that's the 23rd through the 25th. I will join them there in Sebring, Florida. Ian, I will see you there. And anybody else?
Yeah.
And we'll have a blast there and continue to promote. And I will do another 100 miles from the racetrack to U.S. Special Operations Command. That is the intent.
Yeah.
So we're enveloping
In
all of
Tampa,
that.
right? That's
Say
in
that-
Tampa.
Yes, that is in Tampa. That's
So
correct.
just saying it for people who aren't familiar with.
Yep, got you. Thank you. So all encompassing, I think my role is less of a partner and more of just an energizer. And I say this tagline, magnify your light, excuse me, as a way to package this project. And so I'm looking forward to it. I was able to, what's today? Tuesday? Yesterday, I was able to travel to Force Andrews Air Force Base and link up with a mutual friend of Matt and I's, Almina, and pick up a device that the Air Force has built. It's a virtual reality, so it's on the Oculus. It's a software that walks different service members through what they should do if they're ever in a scenario where they have to pretty much talk someone out of committing suicide.
Mhm.
And so I'm actually, if you don't mind if I get up and grab it, not that anyone has.
No, I'd love it. And
All right.
while you're doing that, I want to let people know that, you know, when one person commits suicide, it typically affects 150 people between friends, family, and community. Then it ripples out for generations.
Yeah.
There I go. I went out for a sec, but and I can speak to it firsthand because my grandfather killed himself when I was 5, and my grandmother tried to 3 years later, and I've lost many friends to suicide. So, but what people don't understand is people do not want to die typically. They just want the pain to end.
Exactly.
That doesn't have to mean physical pain, just the pain of whatever it is that they're going through.
Right.
So if we can help people understand that, the people who are around people who might need help, it will help them support them.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I having, been in that space in what point in time, you just want the pain to go away. You just want to get out of that rut.
Yeah.
So this is the unit that Almina belongs to, and so this is their mascot.
Hold it up a little.
Sure.
There you go. Okay.
So Sam Fox is their mascot, and she works at I think it's called First Air Wing. And they are responsible for actually flying out all of the dignitaries. So that could be the president, that could be the president, that could be ambassadors, that could be Secretary of Defense, any of those, that caliber of leadership they are responsible for. So I had read an article, I was looking up suicide prevention stuff and literally stumbled upon the Air Force's software that they used. And I think it was just last year that they piloted it. So I reached out to Almina and asked her, I said, hey, I saw this article and I'm just curious, like, where could I get one of these? And I lied to you, not 3 minutes later, she was like, oh, let me talk to my buddy who's like walked in the door as she was saying this, right? And she asked him and that was it. She was like, yeah, we have 3 devices. They're all loaded up. How many do you need? When do you need them by? And I was like, oh, I need that thing next week. So
no pressure.
I got in the car and, it's just a regular Oculus. Actually tonight I'm going to go through the training just so I can be able to articulate what occurs on it and be able to speak to it. So when I'm cycling to different bases, I'll have that in my backpack. So when I actually get to base, there'll be a training that they can go through for however long they want to, in addition to promoting the businesses that provide different outlets for the stressors. And so I'm like beyond, I think, prepared. My bike I picked up today after being tuned up. So I'm ready. The only thing I'm waiting, right? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's so exciting. Go ahead.
So
the only thing
you're
waiting on is what?
We're waiting on is the customized bib. So this is a jersey, and I'm getting a jersey that's customized with each business's logo on there. And I'm excited to see what that comes back with.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
So,
And AK is going to be posting video and photos and
yeah,
everything along the
yes,
way. And I want to say, if there are any business owners out there, a lot of what we do is some of the things that we do with the team, 1111, we don't look for sponsors for racing. We are B2B consultants. So we help companies solve real problems, and we take whatever they pay us to then race to promote these organizations and veteran-owned companies and so forth. Now, if our clients want to be on the car, that's fine, but a lot of times they don't want to be on the car. They would rather provide the space to other businesses.
Yeah.
But so, for example, one of the things that we do is help with hiring, recruiting, hiring, and retaining employees. There's no better people than you that you can hire than veterans and military spouses because of the self-discipline and the ability to always adapt to a changing environment.
Yeah.
And also, especially for companies that need security clearances. So if somebody out there is looking to hire people like that, or you have employees, quite a few veteran employees, hook up with us. And if you make a donation, I'm just throwing this out without even asking AK.
Right.
Maybe you can make a donation and get AK to come by and do something with your employees.
Yeah.
That's just an idea.
No, I think it's a great idea. I would love to put some meat to that, and I think that all who are participating is one deserving of that, and obviously those who are here struggling with combating suicide and suicidal thoughts, and I would love to see that flourish. So if there's a way that we can generate the audience behind that and the support and donations, I'll video everything. I don't know, TikTok. I'm my kids have to teach me that stuff, but I'll do a video in a heartbeat.
Oh, it's easy.
But I would certainly encourage you all to do that. And Lisa, maybe you and I can figure out how to make that happen.
Yeah, we will. We'll figure out a way to reach out to some of these companies, because here's the thing. We're helping people. We know that they need help, but we also know that these companies need help.
Right.
So we just have to figure out a way to get the word to the companies to let them know that we're here as a resource for them.
Well, you all stay tuned then, because we will make it happen. This group is serious about making things happen.
And I can tell you, it'll be as I mentioned earlier, it'll be 4 years at the end of this year that I've been working with Colin on what has evolved into the 1111 Veteran Project, because initially it was an initiative, and it's just kept evolving. But I have gotten more personal fulfillment out of working on this project than anything I've ever done in my personal or business life. And I wish that I could only do this,
Right.
I love it because I meet so many cool people. I have such a huge network of amazing people, and it's so personal.
Right.
Also, to any businesses out there that are listening, an example of something really cool that we do. So this is something that other people haven't done. Last year, we had the first Braille paint scheme in NASCAR. We were promoting a newly launched business that was owned by a guy who's blind, a friend of mine, and my dad was blind. So I know firsthand as a child, what it takes to help visually impaired or anybody that has any kind of challenge. So we do really cool things like that. And so you may have no idea how we can help you, but if you reach out to us, I guarantee you we can put our brains together and figure out something really, really cool that we could do together to help your business and to help your business help others.
Absolutely. I don't think I could have said that any better. And you hit the nail on the head with the fulfillment part. And it's funny because sometimes I feel like I have 3 jobs, and I would rather, I was just telling Mo the other day, I said, hey, what if I could quit the CDC and just do this, just help people. I would love to do that and just let that be my profession.
I know it just feels so good to help other people.
It really does. It does. So.
and just being able to grow your family, grow your network, meet so many amazing people, and then you find out all the interconnections. It's just a lot of fun, and I feel like I have a new sister.
Yes, absolutely. You do. And I feel mutually about that. And I'm looking forward to many more. I mean, I come across this Virginia, North Carolina border so daggone often. I don't know where I live, if it's outside of my Jeep or in Georgia. So
Well, here's my friend Amy T. Mawr. Amy is a veteran. She says, I love when collaborations are made with great people doing great things. Do you know Amy?
So I only know Amy through her comments on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay. So yeah. Amy is out in Washington State, and she is a veteran, and she helps with so many veterans causes. And actually, I'm not sure the status of this now, but she was working on a housing project for homeless women veterans, because all of the housing areas for homeless veterans were only for men. People forget that women are veterans. They look at all the women and they're like, oh, you're the wife. They, they totally forget about them. Yeah. So Amy does amazing things to help other veterans, and her husband also is a veteran. So she's a great person.
Well, I will say that has been one of my favorite areas and states to actually cycle in. I was out in Seattle doing something near Mount Rainier out there, and I had a blast out there. So the next time I'm there,
pay me out there.
Yeah, I'll have to ping you and see how far you've come with the project. And yeah, absolutely.
Oh, she says that they have some now. That's great.
Great.
We would love to be able to help them have more.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. The key comes down to funding.
Yes.
Here I go again. Sorry. The key comes down to funding to be able to do these things, but a lot of times they don't cost nearly as much as people would think they do. But the key comes down to funding. So if we have companies that step in and let us help them solve a business problem, then we can take the profit from that within 1111 Veteran Project and turn it towards these causes, because 1111 Veteran Project is set up as a for-profit business, but it's a for-cause for-profit. So any profits that we make go into the cause. We set it up intentionally as not a nonprofit to help people realize we are not looking for donations. We're looking for people who want us to actually provide a service to them and make a difference for their business.
Well, I think we should just slap the table on, cycling and getting that energy up for all of those who would be interested in donating. And we can figure out what that cause will go to and everything. But I think that we can do it. I think we can do it.
Tell people, tell people, Amy says, absolutely, I've got great spots to show you for when you go out there.
Right.
Okay. Be awesome. So, okay, tell listeners how they can hook up with you and how they can find out more about what you're doing.
Okay, so how much more time do I have?
You can talk forever.
Okay, so I just want to.
I don't have a time limit.
Okay, all right. You can find me on LinkedIn. It's just that my name is a little crazy. So if somebody wants to type my name in as it is correctly spelled, can I do that on myself on here?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it'll show up.
Let's
you can try it.
Well, if you know Lisa, you can find me. That's for sure.
Yeah, you can put it in the comments, but I don't know. Oh, you know what? I think you're doing it on the private chat, aren't you?
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no, it's okay. I'm gonna say it, but y'all look for me.
Lisa,
ANESAHAKBAR-UQDAH.
Yes. But
for Lisa Kipps-Brown.
Yeah, that's it. Look for Lisa and you'll find me on there.
And, but yeah, so I definitely want to hook you up with AK and with, look, anybody who wants to do anything with us. We have so many amazing people in our team. And AK is one example of the energy and the minds that we can bring to the table to help solve problems.
I definitely appreciate that. So I'm new to IG, but I am under Magnify Your Light, which is again what I am enveloping all of this project in. And just to speak a little bit to that, so it was 2015. I don't know where I was in between CDC and the Marine Corps, but there were students coming out of Bryn Mawr College who wanted to do a major in public health. And so I got all of these young women asking me, "Hey, how do you get into the CDC? How do you get into the CDC?" And I was like, "You don't. Like, just don't try. It's like they have a door that will not open. Like, just I'll give you another way. I'll
Yeah.
find some other sustenance to that." It took me 4 years to get in that agency. So I went back to the university and ended up working with Katie Krimmel, Florence Goff. There's some amazing leaders at the college at the time that was trying to piece a project together on how to bring more public health projects and more coursework for the students there, right? So I was just trying to be an advocate for them.
Uh-huh.
So what I did was I ended up linking up with Mary Beth Davis, who was at the time, she was leading I think it was the biomedical section and pre-med section,
Mhm.
as well as the military. So there were some students going to her who wanted to be doctors, but wanted to use the route of the military to do so.
Okay.
So I ended up linking up with her, and we ended up going through a list of alumni and alumna who end up getting careers in public health. So I called my buddy at the time, Tabia Parker, great photographer, and asked her if she would work with me to help literally magnify the light of the alumni so that the students who were going through knew that their route didn't have to be traditional, because public health is just so expansive. So we put together at my college, we have multiple traditions, but Lantern Night is one of the traditions. And so on Lantern Night, all of the freshmen come outside. We sing all these crazy songs, and the sophomores issue out a lantern per class, right? So I think we have green, light blue, red, all these 4 different colors that we rotate each class. So the sophomores hand off the lanterns to the freshmen as a way of passing on their light, their knowledge, and welcoming them to the college.
Oh.
So I said to Tabi, I said, "Hey, if we could figure out how to frame the narrative of these alumni in the shape of a lantern, I'll title the project Magnify Your Light." So I typed the font so small that it required for the people passing through the project hallway to use a magnifying glass to actually read it.
Oh.
So out of that spawn Magnify Your Light.
Mhm.
And so since then, I have been either advocating for students who want to do public health, advocating for, businesses such as this project, or authors who have books. And I didn't realize it until probably I got this far that this is something that I want to do. And so one day this will be a business. It's not right now, but
And you're so great at it. And here's the thing. Entrepreneurs and anybody, we're great at what we do, but that doesn't mean that we're great at promoting ourselves.
right.
I'm really good at helping people. I totally suck at helping myself.
I
So
got you.
that's why I told you I need your help.
I got you.
We're all up in the middle of our own thing,
Yeah.
so we can't look at it objectively. Where
Right.
when I'm
Yeah.
helping somebody else, I'm like, oh my God, this is clear as day. This is what you need to do.
Right.
And with
Right.
me, I'm just like, oh, all
Yes.
overwhelmed. But I also want to point out to listeners that you are such a great example of what a lot of people have never even heard of, an intrapreneur, because people, even who don't own a business, can think entrepreneurially within their jobs, and companies are beginning to understand that. So some companies now are beginning to actually offer training to their employees to help
Yeah.
to help encourage them to think entrepreneurially, because they're realizing that these employees are their biggest assets. And if they
Absolutely.
don't encourage them to use their minds and creativity within that company, then
Yeah.
they're just going to leave and do it for themselves, because it's so
Yep.
much easier to have a business now. So
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that at this stage of my life, what I feel so drawn to in terms of the technical term intrapreneur is that there's a firm foundation of a network that I already have, whether that's at CDC, whether that's Marine Corps, whether that's cycling, whether that's my kids' network of, basketball, football, and whatever else they're doing, that I'm able to draw from. And one thing that I absolutely love is connecting people.
yeah.
And it's so refreshing. It's so fulfilling, especially when it works.
And it only takes the one right connection
One right
to
connection.
to create miracles.
Right.
Steve Sims, my mentor, says small hinges open big doors, and I love that.
That's a great
But,
saying.
you
I've
know,
never heard that.
yeah, I'd never heard it until he said it. He probably stole it from somebody else, but that's okay.
That's all right. That's
He'll
all right.
admit it if he did. But
Yeah.
it's so true, because and you look
Yeah.
at some of the biggest things that have happened in history, and
Mhm.
it
Yeah.
only happened, and I mean good things, not bad things, that
Right.
only happened because the right people got connected.
Right. Absolutely.
Somebody that had some talent or skill but had no means to do it happened to meet the right person that opened the door for them.
Sure. And it's interesting because I think sometimes I get so engaged in the person and who they are. And so with some of my, I guess, more recent opportunities that I've had to work with people, I remind them, I say, hey, if you don't want me in your business, then I won't be able to promote your business.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a rude way, but I mean that, like, especially as entrepreneurs, you are taking your whole self with you. And that means your dog, that means your kids, that means your husband, your wife, your whomever. And out of that is driven ideas that come just naturally day to day. And so I feel like oftentimes if I don't know who that person is, I won't be effective at connecting them, or effective at magnifying their light, whatever that might mean for them. And so I say it, but like, if you don't want me to promote your business, then you don't want me in your business. So I
That's
can't help
right.
it. Like, I got to get in there.
Yeah, it's so true. You can't just be like, "Yeah, I just want you to do this one thing, and
Right.
don't ask
Yep.
me the stuff that I'm embarrassed
Right.
about." Because look, y'all, we all
Exactly.
suck at
Right.
some things,
Right.
you know?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
AK would need to know all the dirty, deep down dirty
Yeah.
practices you suck
And
at,
I won't ever use it against you. Now I just
It
use it for you, right?
Yes, use it, because if you don't know those weaknesses
Right.
and you don't know those shortcomings, then you cannot help the person overcome them. And if anybody are not willing to share that with you, then we're in denial and we don't really want
Yeah.
help,
Right.
we're
And
proud.
it's funny because it usually, I'm usually acknowledging a weakness that I have in myself as well. So it's always a give and take whenever it
Yeah.
is the sharing. So that mutual support is always refreshing to have in that partnership as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just so glad that we met. And, we had lunch the other day, you and my sister and I. Now she's like, we have a fourth sister, because there are three girls in our family, three
Yes,
sisters. So we're like, now we got a fourth sister. We're five,
absolutely.
because six, because they got a couple of, I keep adding
Here's
them.
a couple here, a couple there.
Yeah, yeah. But so you're part of
Yeah.
the family now,
So
the
thank
1111
you.
family, but also the Kipps family.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And Lord knows I need it. Definitely need it.
Yeah.
So
Well, I just appreciate you so much, and I'm so excited about your ride. I'm so excited about the infusion of energy that you have brought to our project. I laughingly, jokingly, half jokingly tell Ryan that he and I've been like, we've been like dragging this stone up a hill by ourselves, up a mountain by ourselves for the past several years, and other people helping, but you really have to have that catalyst of energy,
yeah.
and I feel you. You know, I already feel the difference that you're making, and I really appreciate it.
Well, I feel very welcomed, and I can't tell you how excited I am. And mind you, to our audience, I although I'm a Marine, I probably haven't seriously PT'd in quite some time. So I know I'm gonna be in a lot of pain when I put my butt on this saddle and get after these miles. But in between, I will rejoice by meeting different business owners along the way, and that'll loosen the pain on my butt quite a bit.
Well,
So
I will tell y'all, you would never look at AK and think she's not seriously PT. That doesn't mean your butt isn't gonna hurt. But I mean, you are like, Dad. I'm like, I don't want to stand next to her because I'm like twice as big. But I mean, I can't imagine what you would look like if you had seriously PT'd.
yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see after these 200 miles plus, right?
Yeah. I'm so excited. So tell everybody again when and where, kind of
Yes.
general
Okay.
ballpark where you can
So
be.
actually, if I could get the help of whoever's listening and whoever will listen later once it's published on your page, this is what I need. I'm going to be cycling from the 6th because the 5th is a holiday and military bases are not going to be open. So the 6th through the 10th in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area.
Okay.
I need someone to say, hey, yes, come to my office and I will be there at your office, whatever base that is, whether that's Fort Belvoir, Andrews, Quantico, wherever. Just invite me there. I will pedal my little hiney over there, and we will have a good time together. We'll probably even have some lunch as well. But if I could get that support, that'll help with the energy and keep everything flowing. And I will bring the Oculus and you can do the training, or I'll just bring my blabbermouth and we can just talk and have fun. I will bring stickers. I've got coasters, I've got shirts, hats, all kinds of things to share with you all and gift and give out in addition to my energy. So I will be cycling between the 6th and the 10th. And then again the 26th through, I think there's 30 days in September.
Yeah.
So until then, and I will.
So the 26th to the 30th is in Florida, right?
That is correct. Yep. So I will be in Florida, cycling from Sebring to Tampa, and we're going to have an awesome time at the race. I already know that's where I'll cultivate all the energy I'll need for the next 100 miles. But I will also be doing some video footage as well. If you want to follow me on IG or Facebook, so on IG, I'm under Magnify Your Light, and on Facebook, I'm under AK Akbar. So LinkedIn is cute, but they get a little fussy when you start inundating them with all kinds of back-to-back posting. So
yeah,
I try to leave them to their professional selves and saturate on Facebook side and IG. So
yeah. And your kids are gonna teach you TikTok.
Yeah, my kids are gonna teach me TikTok. So
all right, AK, thank you so much for joining
me. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This has been awesome.
Yeah, I had a great time and love you.
Love you too. Thank you.
All right, talk to y'all. See you next week, everybody.